This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. Every once in a while, a clip surfaces online of an interview Donald Trump did. And in this case, this happened last night. An interview that was posted on Univision, their YouTube channel, on Thursday with Donald Trump, like over an hour-long interview. Terribly done, by the way. I think this reporter failed in many instances throughout the interview to push back. He just would ask a question and then let Trump just filibuster, unfettered, give his rambling, dangerous answers. But the clip was kind of a mashup that CNN put together of these moments from this interview. So I went and I found and I watched the entire thing. And what I'm going to share with you is a little bit longer. It's shy of 4 minutes, but there'll be a timer on the screen because I want to give you the full context of what was said and just how dangerous this is. Oftentimes, what Donald Trump does is he says something that's radical, but not too radical, and then sees what the reaction is, and then amps up the radical in stages until it's something absolutely unhinged. And that's what we're witnessing right now with this particular clip, but also with Donald Trump in general as we get closer to 2024, November 2024 in the general election. So I'm going to play this clip, and I want you to be on the lookout for a few different things. One, he's asked directly, would you do the same thing, meaning indictments and prosecutions, would you do the same thing if you're reelected? And his answer is startling for a number of different reasons. But there's other things before that. That's about the halfway mark in the clip. There's other things before that that are just, they need to be addressed. So here you go. If you've already seen it, if you've already watched it, you can skip ahead because I put the timer on the clip. Watch this.
I think the people know it's a political persecution. It's a political hoax. This is Biden, who's the worst president in the history of our country. We've never had a president so dumb, so incompetent, and so corrupt from the standpoint of what they're doing. They've weaponized the Justice Department. They've weaponized the FBI. And they've come at me with the worst indictments. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And I'm probably the only guy ever indicted whose poll numbers have shot up through the roof. I mean, it's actually been helpful from the standpoint of getting elected because the people understand it. It's a hoax. And everything they did, whether they rigged the election last time or this, it's the same thing. It's all the same thing. And frankly, it's the only thing they're good at. They're good at rigging elections. This is a form of rigging an election. So they think they can damage me. Now, so far, it's been the exact opposite because when you study it, and I have a voice. I mean, I have a voice with you. I have a voice with others where I can talk about it, whereas other people, if they ever got indicted, they're out of politics. They go to the microphone. They say, I'm going to spend the rest of my life, clearing my name. I'm going to spend the rest of my life with my family. I've seen it hundreds of times, as you have in Mexico, that I can tell you. No, it's backfired on them. And they would have liked to have done it more, but nobody's ever done this before in this country. This is for third world countries. This is for banana republics. This is for countries that don't do this kind of thing. And they've now tried it because they're losing so badly in the polls that if they can try and damage me for the election, and I don't think the people are going to take it. And I do, it's very interesting because they're all in Democrat areas, radical left, blue areas. I have a lot of radical left judges. I have a lot of, but despite that, I think it's all working out because the people ultimately are going to speak. And I think the people get it better than anybody else, better than we do. It's amazing. They see it. Nothing like this has ever happened in this country. It does happen in other countries, but these are developing nations. These are third world nations. So Biden is a man who has unleashed something that's a very bad thing because when that happens to me, it can happen to them. And, he's a very corrupt president.
You say they've weaponized the Justice Department. They weaponized the FBI. Would you do the same if you're reelected?
Well, he's unleashed something that we've all known about this for 100 years. We've watched other countries do it. And in some cases effective, and in other cases the country's overthrown or it's been totally ineffective. But we've watched this for a long time, and it's not unique, but it's unique for the United States. Yeah, if they do this, they've already done it, But if they want to follow through on this, yeah, it could certainly happen in reverse. It could certainly happen in reverse. What they've done is they've released the genie out of the box. You understand that? They've done something that nobody thought would happen. They've taken a president who was very popular. I got 75 million votes, much more than that, I believe. Mm-hmm. No president's ever gotten that many votes. And they've taken that number of people, and I think you can double it or almost you can triple it in terms of the feeling. You can't do that. You can't go after people. You know, when you're president and you've done a good job and you're popular, you don't go after them so you can win an election. They've done indictments in order to win an election. They call it weaponization. And the people aren't going to stand for it. But yeah, they have done something that allows the next party. I mean, if I happen to be president and I see somebody who's doing well and beating me very badly, I say, go down and indict them. Mostly that would be, you know, they would be out of business. They'd be out of the election. In my case, there was such pathetic indictments.
A number of different things here. One, some of this is the same stream of consciousness nonsense, woman, man, camera, birthday, whatever nonsense that he does. But it is detached from reality, but also dangerous because of the adherence to the cult of Donald Trump. People who are willing to lay down their life for this demagogue, for this charlatan, for this grifter, for this liar. Whatever the antithesis of patriot is, this guy, faketriot. Projection on the part of Donald Trump calling Joe Biden dumb and incompetent, as though we don't remember what took place with COVID and the hundreds of thousands of unnecessary deaths because of Donald Trump's inaction based on his ego. Losing badly in the polls. Donald Trump is convinced, because he only reads polls that are favorable to him, he's convinced that he's doing well because certain polls are promoting that idea. The same polls, by the way, that impended doom on this last election on Wednesday. The same polls that said, oh, Republicans are running strong with these issues in Virginia, in Ohio, in Kentucky. Ooh, it's not looking good. And then what happened? Those polls were wrong. Donald Trump is not leading Joe Biden. Is Joe Biden doing great? No, he's not. But to act like Donald Trump is a rock star is just fantasy in his own mind. Radical left judges, radical left blue areas. Name a radical left community in the United States, a municipality of any size whatsoever. There isn't a radical left. Even San Francisco is turning its back on supervised consumption sites and other things that would be considered radical left by idiots like Donald Trump. And then the question comes, would you do the same relative to indictments and prosecutions of your political opponents if you're reelected? And the answer is yes. He says if they do this, they've already done it, but if they want to follow through with it, it could happen in reverse. 75 million voted for him, more than any other president. Donald Trump, this is an aside, but Donald Trump thinks that because he got more votes, physical votes, than George Washington, he must be better than George Washington, even though there's far more people in the United States than there was at the founding. It's just the number that matters to Donald Trump, ignoring the fact that Joe Biden got 7+ million more votes than him. And then, of course, I just say go down and indict them. They'd be out of business. They'd be out of the election, which indicates that he has it in his head that he's going to run for a third term. Because the question is, would you do the same if you're reelected to a second term? And then he would say this, and the people that are running against him would be out of the election, meaning he would be running again, which runs absolutely in line, parallel to, on the same track as him calling for the termination of all articles and regulations, including the Constitution of the United States of America. And again, I will ask the question, where are Republicans? Where are they to speak out against this demagoguery, this anti-constitutional, anti-democratic nonsense, this dangerous vitriol, still attempting to enlist the violent support of his supporters? The people aren't going to stand for this. I don't think that the people are going to take it, was the quote. All Republicans are asleep at the wheel. A lot of Democrats are asleep at the wheel right now, ignoring this, or maybe just having wishful thinking that it's going to go away. I hate to be the harbinger of bad news, the bringer of negative story. It's not going away. Donald Trump in no way is going to stop. He's not going to drop out of the race for the good of the country. He's not going to stop attempting to enlist the violent intervention of his insurrectionist mob supporters. He's supporting people who have been convicted of seditious conspiracy. He plays them singing the Star-Spangled Banner or God Bless America or whatever from jail as though they are political prisoners when they attempted to overthrow the government at his behest. What do you think? Did you see this? What are your thoughts? We can mix it up in the comments. You can also leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. You can also email me, daily@dollemore.com. Please keep the voicemails brief and the emails as long as you'd like. Follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Facebook, Blue Sky, all of them at Dollemore. I'd love to see you there. And if you appreciate what I do, the work that goes into this, the research that I do, the manner with which I present it, please consider supporting my work. Click the join button below. Become a channel member for $2 a month. You can hit the super thanks button, or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. All those are great ways to help support and grow this work. I will see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Have a great rest of your weekend. Look at me working on a Saturday. And I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.